It may not be a bloody big deal, but Toronto FC seems to have won the offseason all the same. I'm Andrew Wiebe, and I'm joined by Armchair Analyst Matt Doyle on MLS Now, and we're here to discuss exactly how these puzzle pieces fit together. Matt, how's it going?
It's going good, Andrew. What do you think for these puzzle pieces? We got a lot on the field of play right now.
Boy, Greg Vanney, he's shaking them out. He's finding the corner pieces, the ones he builds around, and of course those are his designated players. Let's start with formation. This has been a point of emphasis ever since these guys inked their contract. How do they play? How do they trot them out there on day one?
Well, I think when you have Giovinco joining Jozy Altidore, it'll be a pretty natural 4-4-2 with those guys resembling, I think, a lot of Joao Plata and Alvaro Saborio in RSL. They just seem to fit. The question is, when does Giovinco get here? We've seen reports over the last 24 hours or so that TFC are working to get him in by the end of January. If they can make that happen, that helps a lot. If they can't, it'll mean a big midseason switch, which could be problematic.
Yeah, a big issue for them. Then the question becomes, where does Michael Bradley play? And that is a point of contention, let's say, between Greg Vanney and Jurgen Klinsmann. Klinsmann, as we saw in the World Cup, expects him to play farther forward. Bradley thinks he's probably better as a deep-lying playmaker, and Greg Vanney agrees. Personally, having seen that, I would have to agree with Vanney. I think he's better facing the defense. I think he's better when he can turn and survey the field. That chipped ball over the top, that diagonal ball, those are attributes you don't want to take away from Michael. And then the late runs. I mean, he's got to be there, but who sits next to him? Is it Jonathan Osorio? He's not necessarily that defensive-minded player that complements a guy like that.
I agree 100% with you. I actually like Osorio best on the left side of midfield, cutting in with the ball on his stronger foot to go at goal. A lot like how Harry Shipp played last year in Chicago. I honestly think that Toronto FC need to go out and find a Scott Caldwell type. We all saw what he did for Jermaine Jones in New England, allowed him to go touchline to touchline, box to box, pretty much wherever he wanted, but still keep the defensive shape. Toronto never had that last year. They asked Michael Bradley to play that role a little bit, and I think that actually makes Michael Bradley less dynamic. You take your big $6.5 million asset and you make him a complementary piece. That just doesn't make sense to me.
And we saw how complimentary, as you said, Caldwell was all the way to the MLS Cup final. Didn't get it done there, but Toronto FC fans would love that type of result. Of course, someone has to provide the service. You mentioned Osorio. You've got Jackson. You've got, Damoduro. What do you do on those flanks, and what kind of service are Giovinco and Altidore going to serve on?
Well, Giovinco is, like I said, a Plata-type player. He's not going to stay exclusively inside the 18 in the central channel. He'll drift out wide. He'll send in actually a lot of crosses, and I think that's where Michael Bradley can get into the 18 and be goal dangerous with those late runs that you described. But they really do have to get more from the outside midfielders in 2015. We saw Aduro in particular miss a ton of chances last year. The Reds have to get better in the wide spots, and they also have to get better in central defense.
As we've seen over the course of the season, if they do that, Michael Bradley's assist numbers will go up with a defensive guy next to him. Perhaps the defense gets better. Either way, it's playoffs or bust for Toronto FC. Let us know what you think. Where did they improve? Where do they need to improve? Hit us up in the comments section below and stay tuned to MLSsoccer.com for all your off-season news.